Hello, peace out everybody, it's King Jock the Outlaw. Today I'm gonna be reading about Rudy Rangel Jr., also known as King Kato. Remember DMX used to sing about Ayo Kato, we missed you Kato. In the DMX album, he was like good friends with DMX. Well, he was the head of the Chicago Latin Kings. So I'm gonna read a bit about it here for you. So Rudy Rangel Jr. liked to keep his hair short. So Rangel, a leader of the Latin Kings, one of Chicago's biggest street gangs, had been going several times a month to nationwide cuts, a barber shop operating out of a trailer near Roosevelt in Sacramento on the west side of Chicago. On June the 4th, 2003, late in the evening, the gang leader known as Kato was in the barber chair, his back to the open door. Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and New Jersey Nets on the TV. Outside, a 21-year-old recently paroled ex-con named Darnell Squeaky Simmons walked through the alley to the shop, a red, white and blue Nets cap on his head and a pistol at his waist. What happened to the Chicago Bulls hats, man? You run about Chicago with an MY hat on, New York Nets, you know what I mean? Two men were sitting on the stairs. Sorry, the red, white and blue Nets cap on his head and a pistol on his waist. Two men were sitting at the stairs of the barber shop waiting to get in when Simmons walked up. Let me get by, Simmons told them. In a few moments, Rangel 30 lay dying. Now 15 years later, 11 members of the Four Corner Hustlers street gang, including Labar Broman Span. I think he was in a wheelchair, you know, but he was the leader of the Four Corner Hustlers. Just shows how many gangs are in Chicago. It ain't just like the rakes up, rakes down, the BDs and the GDs. Like there's loads of gangs, you know what I mean? Like the Latin King's massive, like the motherland, and I think in Chicago and then this bloodline in New York, where it was King Blood, Louis Philippe. I'm gonna do a video on him as well. But now 15 years later, 11 members of the Four Corner Hustlers, including a Bar Broman Spang, leader of the gang, await prosecution next year on one of the biggest gang trials ever in Chicago. Rangel's killing and 5 other murders are at the heart of the sweeping racketeering conspiracy case set to be held in federal court in September 2019. Though Simmons and 2 others went to prison in Rangel's death, some details of the high-profile killing, rapper Dmx later recorded a tribute to Rangel, there you go, called Ayo Kato, we miss you Kato. So it never come out, it did come out though, it was on Grand Champ, I think, the album. I'll put it on now when I would, but I think you get copyrighted and shit, like, I don't know. Authorities said the shooting resulted from attempted jewel robbery. That bullshit, that's lies. Attempted jewel robbery. But interviews and thousands of pages of records from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Chicago Police Department, the Cook County State's Attorney Office, and the Cook County Medical Examiners reviewed by the Chicago Sun-Times suggest another possible motive, that the murder was contracted after Rangel stole 150 bricks of cocaine. Oh shit. Based on those records, this is the story of the killing of Rudy Kato Rangel Jr. And other than that, he stole 150 keys. Like, they ain't gonna just go pop him. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I don't think if somebody stole 150 bricks with you, you want the bricks back, innit? So you're gonna snatch the person off the street and find out where the fuck, where the bricks are. You're gonna try to find out where the bricks are. That's what I would do anyway. Well, I wouldn't, but you know what I mean. But anyway, authorities said the shooting resulted from attempted jewel robbery. But interviews, and I read that story, the girl stole 150 keys. Based on those records, this is the story of the killing of Rudy Kato Rangel Jr. Born on Thanksgiving Day 1972, Rangel grew up in Leclerc Courts on the southwest side, but ended up travelling in lofty circles in two worlds, crime and rap music. As a kid, he was friends with Pedro Flores and Margarita Flores, twin brothers. You know who the Flores twins are? I'll do a video of them if you want, innit? Obviously, my little small band of supporters and that, like, it's getting bigger every day, but it's just like, you know what I mean? I know my thing will grow. It will grow. So if you want to keep putting out good, decent content, man, it will just grow. Like, I'm just new to the shit, you know what I mean? But I ain't new to the shit. If you know what I'm saying. If you know, you know. But the Flores twins are the ones with El Chapo, linked to El Chapo and that. The twin brothers from a little village who grew up to be the biggest drug traffickers in the city before they got caught and agreed to help the Justice Department build a case that led to the arrest of Mexican drug kingpin Yaquin El Chapo Guzman. El Chapo Shorty. At 17, Rangel pleaded guilty to possession of a controlled substance and got a year's probation. In 1993, he was convicted of attempted murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and armed violence, and got 7 years in prison. Fucking hell, he got a result. Rangel married someone from the neighborhood, Valerie Gaitan, daughter of a Chicago cop. Well, he had a tattoo on his chest for her. Wait till you see what she does. On his chest for her. Destined forever, my Queen Valerie. Soon after Rangel's killing, though, Gaitan took up with Margarita Flores, one of the brothers, who do you think might have been involved in getting popped. But took up with Margarita Flores before going into federal protective custody. They spent time at Guzman's cartel fortress in Mexico, which she wrote about in her 2017 book Cartel Wives. Rangel had friends and aspirations in the music business, rubbing elbows with hip-hop heavyweights including Dmx and Fat Joe, who in a radio interview last August called him a beautiful dude. A friend told police Rangel had two performers he was in negotiations with DreamWorks to record. Rangel, who travelled with a bodyguard like flashy jewellery, in the spring of 2003, he drove to Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp at Selmac and Canal to meet John, a Latin king who told him he'd sell him a stolen diamond-laden Frank Miller watch worth 125 grand for 25 grand. Rangel bought it. Right. Frank Miller. Back then, I know. The parking lot of Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp, where Rudy Rangel Jr. bought a Frank Miller watch for 25 grand. Man, had a good fucking time off that money. Martise Nunnery, 26, asthmatic and a member of the unknown Vice Lords, told authorities John told him about selling a watch to Rangel and that he'd seen him wearing that. A diamond bracelet and a platinum necklace with a pendant. Nunnery figured the jewelry was worth at least 240 grand. In May 2003, Nunnery got in touch with a guy named Marcus Ware, who hung around the barber shop at Roosevelt in Sacramento and had 2 drug convictions, and one on a weapons charge. The next time he saw Rangel at the barber shop, Nunnery told Ware, call him, he wanted to talk about the music business. Ware said Nunnery told him he'd pay him 1,500 to 2 grand. He figured Nunnery was going to rob him, but not just for the jewelry. In trial testimony, Ware said Nunnery told him he was intending to kill Rangel because Nunnery was going to get 190 grand and 15 kilos of cocaine. Nunnery reached out to Span, field leader of the brutal Four Corner Hustlers, which claimed large swaths of the West Side. In June 1997, at 18, Span was charged with murder and aggravated discharge of a firearm, but found not guilty, though his 2 co-defendants were convicted and each got a 60-year prison sentence. Something ain't right about him. Something ain't right about him. I mean, you're too cold, you should go down, but you don't. The following, yeah, he's a snitch, I think. None of you reached out to Span for about a 60-year prison sentence. The following year, Span was charged with aggravated battery to a peace officer, unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. He got probation. See? Fucking hell, that's even while held at the Cook County Jail, Span, who has used a wheelchair since being shot more than 15 years ago, has found himself in trouble. He's been reprimanded for threatening correctional officers, COs, attacking one with his wheelchair, and fashioning a shiver out of pens and medical tape, for which he received minimal punishment. The indictment last September, targeting the Four Corners hustlers, including 6 murders. Span was linked to all 6. Span, whose attorney, Todd Urban, didn't return messages seeking comment. Already he's facing as many as 70 years in prison. Having pled guilty 3 months before the indictment to being a felon in possession of a weapon, obstruction of justice involving witness tampering and cocaine possession with intent to distribute. Nunnery had known Span just a few months and weeks before Rangel's killing. He told authorities, Span that I had a lick up for somebody that had a lot of jewelry. Span already was planning to rob Rangel. I think a few people wanted to rob him. You know what I mean? Not either. According to Nunnery, they'll have a hard time in jail, trust me. When I described the chain that the guy had, he was like, yeah, I know that. We was just going to rob him. Nunnery told the prosecutor. Nunnery said his job was to locate Rangel, and Span was to get someone to rob him. Span knew Simmons and told him he'd pay him up to 30 grand for the job, according to Nunnery. Simmons told detectives that in May 2003, Span told him about the talk of Rangel having stolen 150 kilos of cocaine and hired him to kill Rangel. Broman told Donnell about a lick that Puerto Rican had done for 150 bricks. A detective wrote after interviewing Simmons. Broman said a Cuban motherfucker or Mexican wanted dude taken care of. Broman asked Donnell to kill the dude for $10,000 to $30,000. Later that May, Nunnery and Span picked up Simmons at his West Side home, according to a prosecutor's report. They rode around in the car and Broman was just talking about hitting this lick or committing the robbery, and Maltese kept adding that we're going to pay you, we got you. The prosecutor wrote after an interview with Simmons. You have to keep telling someone you're going to pay them, man. It means you ain't going to pay them. You know what I'm saying? You say it once and don't ever say it again. Later that May, Nunnery and Span picked up Simmons at his West Side home, according to a prosecutor's report. They rode around in the car, and Broman was just talking about hitting this lick or committing a robbery, and Maltese kept adding that we're going to pay you, we got you. The prosecutor wrote after an interview with Simmons. Nunnery didn't just want to wait to hear from that Rangel had shown up at the barber shop. He started looking for Rangel himself around Fullerton and Clybourne, near a recording studio Rangel had. A few days after Nunnery, and Span had picked up Simmons, Simmons later told prosecutors he was picked up at home again, where Span and a third man were driving around. Simmons said then Span called Nunnery and headed to Roosevelt in California. Donnell states that they rode in the car. He saw Maltese on the sidewalk shaking the dude's hand. Donnell states that Broman said that's him right there, pointing to the dude on the sidewalk shaking Maltese's hand. Donnell says that the dude was Kato, now known as Rudy Rangel, and this dude is the guy Broman was telling Donnell to shoot at. The prosecutor wrote. Donnell states that Broman told Donnell that he wanted Donnell to pop him. Donnell states that pop him meant to kill him, and was the dude they called Kato. Simmons had been paroled just months before in a deal with prosecutors. He'd pleaded guilty to aggravated discharge of a firearm. was sentenced to 4 years in prison in May 2002 and paroled from the Vandalia Correctional Centre on February the 26th, 2003. On June the 4th, 2003, Nunnery was at work at a cell phone store when he got a call from where he had been waiting for. Rangel was at the barber shop. He told authorities Span picked him up and they called Simmons to let him know they were coming to get him. Simmons was walking to a liquor store at Madison and Keeler when he saw Nunnery driving a red Ford Taurus with Span in back, another man in front. He got next to Span. Outside the barber shop, he saw Rangel's blue SUV, drove a block west and turned parking just north of the alley, according to what Nunnery and Simmons told authorities. Dmx.El states that Broman handed me the gun to Dmx.El. Dmx states that as Broman handed the gun to him, Broman told Dmx.El, "Don't miss, come back, we'll be right here waiting for you." "Man, shorty, don't miss him," Nunnery said. Simmons took the gun and got out. Got bar Broman Span. Sorry about that. He was there only a few minutes when Rangel was headed somewhere else that day when he called a friend from prison who told him he was at Nationwide for a haircut. Rangel decided to join him. He was there only a few minutes when Simmons, who didn't know about Rangel's 23-year-old bodyguard or his 5-shot revolver, came out of the alley. About a minute after Simmons got out of the car, Span, Nunnery and the third man heard gunshots. So did 2 Cook County Sheriff's officers on patrol in an unmarked squad car at Roosevelt in Sacramento, who reported the gunfire to the Chicago police. Rangel fell and Simmons said he kept firing, also hitting the barber on the right foot and the bodyguard in his left hand. Dmx.El said no words were exchanged, he just began firing a pistol at Dud. A detective wrote after questioning Simmons. Simmons ran with the bodyguard in pursuit, and the sheriff officer was now less than a block away. The bodyguard told detectives he shot at Simmons but missed, then dumped his gun in a bucket of soapy water at a car wash next to the barber shop before going back to Rangel. A sheriff's officer chased but lost Simmons. As he ran, Simmons' net's cap fell off. It landed on the sidewalk near Rangel's SUV. Inside the trailer, Rangel was face down, blood plugging around him, 2 gunshots to the back of his neck that left stifling residue indicating he'd been shot up close. He also was hitting his left shoulder, the left side of his chest, his left abdomen and left hip. Well, he got hit up, man. According to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, which noted Rangel still had on his pricey watch and bracelet, detectives found the necklace and pendant on the stairs of the barber shop. So he didn't even get the jewelry. As soon as the men in the car waiting outside the barber shop had gunfire, Broman began shouting, "Get me out of this car." Get me out of this car. Detective wrote after interviewing Nunnery. Nunnery said he carried Span to the porch of a nearby home, saw a car heading north on Whittle, recognized the driver and flagged him down. He said the man drove them 3 blocks to Hollywood Video at Roosevelt and Spalding, where Nunnery called his girlfriend who picked him up, dropping him nearby before taking Span to Arlington and Karlov. Nunnery said Span called that night saying he hadn't heard from Simmons and was wondering what happened inside the barber shop. Nunnery told him people were telling him that a guy was dead. Days later, Wells said he heard on the street that Kato had ripped off some Mexicans off for some dope and they paid someone to kill him. Wells states that he knew that the way Kato was killed, that it was not just a robbery, a detective wrote. Span already was under scrutiny by the Chicago Police Department. An informant friendly with Span wore a wire for investigating targeting Span and his crew. That investigation, dubbed Operation 5K for 5th Avenue and Karlov, while Span lived led to dozens of murder convictions. Detectives investigating Rangel's death learned of an informant being used by the police department's organised crime division who had recorded conversations with Nunnery in which he implicated himself in the shooting. The transcripts included one between Nunnery and the informant 7 weeks after the shooting. In that conversation, Nunnery talks about paying a subject named Squeaky $13,000. He got robbed. Good man. I'm happy he got robbed. Rest in peace, Kato, man. But got cheated. Detectives wrote Nunnery goes on to say that it was Squeaky Broman himself in the car, but only Squeaky got out and did it. Nunnery says that the police were right there when this happened. 8 days later, the informant spoke with a man who said Nunnery tried to hire him to kill Rangel before turning to Span. He told the informant Martis tried to get him to melt the Puerto Rican stud, a detective wrote. The CI understood this to mean Nunnery attempted to hire the man to murder Rangel. The man goes on to say that he didn't want to do it, but that Nunnery F him in the barber shop. It would be more than 5 months before arrests were made. Ware and Nunnery were brought in on November the 14th, and Simmons was arrested 8 days later, initially in a separate incident. Span already was in the Cook County jail on unrelated armed robbery charges when detectives wanted to talk with him. What about all these 15 keys and out? Why are they out doing armed robberies and shit? You know what I mean? They meant to be getting big money. And they all got bumped. Like, do you know what I mean? The guy died for nothing. Like, Simmons was arrested in a separate incident, armed robbery charge. When detectives wanted to talk with him and the others about Rangel, all 4 agreed to speak with detectives and prosecutors without lawyers present. At the start of his interview, Mr. Simmons denied any involvement in the incident, but did state that he'd read about it in the newspapers and inquired as to whether or not the newspapers were accurate in saying that offenders had been arrested and had confessed. Detectives wrote. Detectives told Simmons that they were matching the evidence to those involved and had DNA. Mr. Simmons immediately stated that he would willingly submit a DNA test. Detectives wrote. They told Simmons that they wanted to compare his DNA with hair recovered from a New Jersey net cap found in a sidewalk outside the barber shop. Mr. Simmons then stated that he would talk to Detective O'Donovan about the incident, but asked that he be given a cigarette and water first. Detectives wrote. Later that month, a grand jury approved charges against all 4 men on first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and attempted armed robbery. Span and Nunnery were also charged with soliciting murder for hire, and armed robbery. Simmons also was charged with aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Those criminal cases concluded in 2008 with convictions in prison for everyone but Span. Wow. Well made a deal pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit armed robbery, testifying against Simmons and getting an 11-year sentence. The state's attorney's office dropped the murder, attempt murder, aggravated battery, and conspiracy to commit murder charges. In October 2008, Simmons was convicted of murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and conspiracy to commit murder. He got 53 years in prison. Wow. Football numbers, man. Nunnery was convicted of murder and given 36. Nunnery was convicted of murder and given 36 years in prison. Before Nunnery was sentenced, Rangel's mother, Mary Rangel, gave a victim impact statement. I am not here saying my son was an angel, one of the mothers that act like he never did wrong, but whatever he did not deserve to die like that, she said. Span turned down a plea deal, and Cook County Judge James Schreifer found him not guilty. In 2009, Span pleaded guilty to the armed robbery. He got 6 years in prison, but was credited with 5 years and 10 months of time served. While incarcerated, Span was charged with bringing drugs into a penal institution and harassing a witness were added 3 years and 2 years to his armed robbery sentence, though he also was credited with more than 700 days of time served in jail. And now Span awaits another reckoning court over the killing of Rudy Kato Rangel Jr., among other charges, in the federal conspiracy case targeting the Four Corner Hustlers. Yeah, man, that was Rudy Rangel, man, how he fucking snaked him and killed him and all this shit. But it links to the Flores twins and all that. I'll get into that in another video, if you want, and that, like, so, yeah, but yeah, it's pretty mad, like, if you want, go listen to the Dmx tune in it, Kato, it's a good song. All of my friends, like, thanks everybody, peace, love and respect, King Jock out.